Good afternoon and welcome to the Student Hub Live. This is the Faculty of Wellbeing, Education and Language Studies, and this is our Freshers event. My name's Karen Foley and I'm really excited to be here because, well, this is my school that I'm involved with at the Open University. And when I'm not doing this, I'm a lecturer at the Open University and I do all sorts of things. But the thing I love most is spending time with students here at the Student Hub Live, which is the Open University's live online interactive platform to facilitate academic community. Now, we do lots of these events for students. This is our Freshers event specifically for the faculty. But for those of you who are brand new to the Open University, we also have a generic event on the 28th of September. And we've got stacks of workshops. One's on tonight. But on module start day also, we'll be showing you around the virtual learning environment and giving you the essential information that new students need to know about. So do make sure you visit the Student Hub Live website and find out about ways in which we can support you. And also you might like to subscribe to our mailing list so that you can be the first to know about the events that we run throughout the whole academic year to support you in your studies. Now, this is a live online interactive event. It's great to see so many of you out there today making friends, talking about which modules you're on, telling us how you're feeling. And we want you to be able to talk about all of those things, but it is a super busy chat room. So if you'd like to ignore the chat, you can just watch the show. You can chill out and make a cup of tea. You can come back. This is all being recorded and the video part of this show will be available later for you to watch on catch up. So it's your choice really how you spend the time. You might want to spend this opportunity to talk to other people, share advice, share your study tips, talk about your study buddies, your animals. My dog here is being very well behaved at the moment, but might not be later. And you might like to talk about your specific aspirations, etc. So please feel free to make the most of that. Just don't share any personal information in that chat, please. We've got a brilliant programme lined up for you today. And on the hot desk to support me in this right now is Kieran McCartney. And Kieran, can you tell the viewers at home about the lovely pin button and the different interfaces that they might want to use for the chat?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. You'll see here on your left-hand side of your screen, you've got some widgets, and you can use that to participate in the different polls and let us know how you're feeling. And then obviously to do use the chat and the widget and the pin buttons as well to show us where you are in the UK or even further afield, if that's available. And yeah, let us know how you're doing, write in the answers.
That's brilliant, Kieran. And how is everybody doing out there?
They're doing really well, Karen. We've got Moira Davidson, who's from Southwest Scotland, and she's studying a triple one this year. And also too, we've also got Kate Rooning, who's from South Africa, so an international student. We've got Laura Golden from Essex. Everyone's doing really well. Angela Bell's studying K118 and first year, so she's ready to dive in. And we also have a master's student in applied linguistics, Dana Harvey, who's on EE8817.
Brilliant. Well, that's fantastic. We've also got our colleague Eric in the chat, who's part of the faculty, and our faculty colleagues will drop in. And we've also got some Student Hub Live ambassadors. I see Tala's in the chat as well. So lots of people sharing advice and information. It's a great opportunity to meet others. If the chat's moving too fast, there's a little pin button on the top right-hand side of the screen. You can just hold that. Looks like a little pin, like you get those little bubbles on Google Maps. You can just hold that and then you can scroll up and down if you would like to. So, packed programme. We're here till 5:30, as I said, drop in and out. First, we're going to welcome you to the faculty officially. And to do that, I'm joined by Fary, Cachlin, Verity, Saunders and Chris Kubiak. Now, Fary is the Executive Dean at WELS, and she manages the faculty and represents WELS, the Wellbeing, Education, Languages and Sport, at the university executive level. Welcome. How are you today, Fary?
Thank you. I'm great today, thank you. And I'm really excited to be here. I really appreciate these opportunities to just be able to communicate with our students. So it's the highlight of the week for me, for sure.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I know they're really excited to meet you also. Verity, you're an OU student and you're starting your final module of your degree this academic year. And you're the Faculty Association representative in WELS. How are you today?
I'm all right, thank you.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
good. It's always a bit nerve-wracking being here. Sometimes I think the students are all nervous at home and they don't realise that actually for us this can be a bit tricky also. But it's wonderful that you've joined us today. Thank you for coming. Chris, you've been working with me developing the programme and you're the Associate Head of School, and you have a strategic responsibility for developing and enhancing the school's learning and teaching strategy. And you've also developed modules in health and social care, youth justice, mental health and practice-based learning. Welcome today.
Hi, Karen. It's good to be here.
Oh, good. Now, we've asked people at home to fill in our widgets, as Kieran said. So we've got some word clouds there. We'd like to know what you're most excited about, and we're going to show that in a minute. But first, we thought that to welcome everybody, we challenge our panel today to bring an object that reminded them about WELS, so something that sort of embodied the faculty. So Fary, I'm going to start with you. What object have you selected and what can you tell us in terms of how it represents the faculty?
Yeah, that was a really good challenge, Karen. And I had to think about it for a while, but I brought this Thai tika wood representation of Buddha. And I bought this when I was in Myanmar a few times ago, and it was my first trip to that really lovely part of the world. So, and I'll tell you why this reminds me of WELS. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, wow, this really does represent WELS. First of all, I think it represents, so it's Buddha, and I think it represents all the three schools in WELS and the different disciplines in WELS really well, because it represents another culture, right? Different part of the world, other languages. So that's our School of Languages and Applied Linguistics. Buddha makes me think of a sense of well-being, of health, of caring for others. So that's our School of Health, Well-being, and Social Care. And then Buddha was a teacher. It's about expanding knowledge and understanding, and that's what we do in our School of Education, Children, Youth, and Sport. Like Buddha, WELS is about seeking knowledge, understanding, and promoting well-being. WELS is about the interconnection of different disciplines that may seem very different, but they're connected by this global theme of helping others in development, about training professionals like our students to help others. For example, we're a UK leader in apprenticeship opportunities, if you didn't know that. Like Buddha, I thought about it, WELS is about enlightenment. So what we're really trying to do is help our students shift their focus to their career goals, to help our students decide, what they want to contribute to society and what they want to do and what they want to be. And basically, WELS, I think like Buddha, maybe you've seen it enough, I don't know. It's sort of heavy, I'm getting tired,
Yeah.
is about but yeah, in WELS, it's all about educating and supporting our students to succeed in their careers, and their careers are careers that are to help society at a global level through health, education, cultural competence. So I think we really represent the OU mission of social justice, and I think really we're a lot like Buddha.
That's wonderful. A great example. And I guess one of the key things here is that, it's not just about the teaching, it's about the application and, seeking to address and assist in real world issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of our programs in WELS are exactly that. So it's about learning and it's about the theoretical stuff, but it's also about the applied part and the hands-on part and about how to take that knowledge to help others. So absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. That's a great example. Verity, which object have you chosen to bring to remind us about WELS?
I've brought in a diary. I've brought this in because time is so important to have as an OU student, because your time's precious. You're using your precious time to be a student, so you've got to manage that the best you can. Otherwise, you end up not being able to do everything because there's only so many hours in a day. You just don't want to end up doing a TMA, which is a tutor marked assignment, at the very last minute, because that is literally one thing you will only do once and then you will learn from that. Student home will have what you need to study each week, and I found that quite well because it sets out what you need to do, and like week one will have what you need to do that week and so on. And I found if I use that and block it out my time, I can manage to do everything quite well. And you just got to make sure you also block out time for your family and your friends, and make sure you ask for help when you need it, really. Yeah.
That's wonderful. How do you use your own diary then, Verity? It sounds like it symbolises things, but also I love hearing the way that you're blocking out chunks of time and sort of really trying to focus on specific tasks. How does that help you? Any strategies you can share for people? Because I think time management is an issue that's common to so many of us.
Yeah, I've found it, as I've gone on through my degree, I've found little things such as using like Outlook calendar to block out 10 till 3. This is when I'm going to study, for example. And then, like, I don't know, 5 till 6 is dinner. So obviously things like that.
So it's planning out a balance of those sorts of real tasks and also factoring in that you do need to live in the midst of study. So making sure that you have realistic times to relax and spend with your friends and family.
Yeah. That
Brilliant.
is something very important.
Yeah, no, it is. Because if you're not happy, if you aren't in the right sort of WELS space, it can be very difficult to think clearly, can't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Chris, let's talk about your object that you've bought.
So I have this. It's a Matryoshka doll. I picked it up in a market in the Czech Republic about 20 years ago, and it sits on my desk, and I fiddle with it throughout my working day. And it's a lot like study, actually. It actually captures the essence of study, because you know how these things work. You think you've got one look at it, you open it up, and you've got something else inside. So in the same way, it's like looking into a topic. So if I said to a student, what does it take to deliver a really caring service, say as a teacher or as a health and social care worker, we look at this thing that we know, that we think we understand, and we start to peel back the layers. So a student might say to us, well, I know how you offer a really caring service. Some people are just born to care, and we should only give those people a job in care. So we think, okay, well, let's look a bit deeper. We open up the layers a little bit more, and they say, well, okay, well, are you sure that care can't be taught? Surely we can teach people things so they can be competent carers. We can teach people to offer emotional labor. We can teach them to do the right things. So we open up the layers and we look even deeper, and we say, well, there must be more to it. There's a whole branch of philosophy around what's called an ethic of care. So we open it up even more, and we start to think about the ethic of care, which is really the basis of care is paying attention, rolling your sleeves up, mucking in, but also noticing how care affects other people. So basically, study is digging in, looking deeper, widening our understanding. And that's what we'll be doing this afternoon as well.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Chris. Now, I wonder if I could come back to you, Verity, and talk about what are some of the things that keep you going as a student. So you've mentioned that you're, towards the end of your journey, so you've obviously come a long way so far already. How have you kept motivated?
Well, I've come so far since starting in 2017. There's a few things that kept me going. Like, I joined the social community, which there's online meetups, Facebook groups, student forums and subject forums. Also on the Student Association website, these things are advertised on there. So like there's a community drop-in every so often. I think it's on a Thursday. And yeah, there's OU support as well. So you've got your student support team and also the peer support at the Student Association as well. And also friends and family have supported me throughout my journey as well. Because even though they don't know necessarily what it's like to be an OU student, they've seen me be an OU student, so they know kind of how to help sometimes.
And the wonderful thing about the Open University is so many people have some experience of being an OU student. It's very often that you're on the train or something and someone's got a book or someone knows someone who's completed a qualification. And it sounds as if people in a variety of ways have been very important to you, Verity.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, and they do help and keep you going. We ask people
I've
at home what
for life.
You have, I bet.
I've made friends for life.
Yeah, I did when I studied at the Open University I think 25 years ago, my other degree that I did, and my best friend still I'm in contact with from the OU. So it's amazing who you can meet along the way. It's a really lovely space. We've asked people at home how they're feeling and what they're most excited about, because, Fary, I'd like you to reflect on this if we can close on some points after I've managed to speak to Chris about the programme so far. So let's take a look and see what people are most excited about here. And the key thing that's come up is learning new things, adding to knowledge, watching movies, new friendships, meeting tutors, meeting people, new challenges, stretching your brain, being a student, new perspectives, improving biscuits. Yes, biscuits are important. Nice little incentives there, new challenges, a placement. So, Fary, I'm going to ask you in a second to think about some of those things to draw the session to a close if we could. But before that, Chris, you've worked really hard on putting this programme together with us for students. I wonder if you can give us some highlights of what to expect this afternoon and perhaps tell us what you're looking forward to in particular.
So I was reflecting on the word cloud that you've just put up, and I was thinking about some of the things that cut across that also relate to the program. So today we'll be kicking off by looking at children and young people's well-being. We know that adults' well-being is really important, and your well-being as a student is important, and we'll be asking ourselves whether it's different from whether children and young people's well-being is different from adults' well-being. We'll then be moving into a double bill on professionality. So this is so we know that most of our students are working already, but we know that because they are working already, it's worth asking, well, what's the impact of studying at university? So as you grow in your knowledge and understanding, does your professionality change? And so we'll break that one down. We also know that we're going to expand the understanding of professionality as well to talk about, well, is professionality just about how you act in the workplace, or is professionality also about your social media presence? So what is digital professionality, either as a working person in the workplace, but also as a student? And then we'll be looking at learning to learn, the skills that you need to turbocharge your learning. And then we move into a look at how language learning expands your worldview. So it's a bit like the Matryoshka dolls, really. You know, when you learn a language, you learn more than just vocabulary. You learn how other people view the world. So on the surface, you're just learning words, but underneath all of that, you're learning a culture. And finally, we have a spotlight on WELS. So we're having a whistle stop tour around the faculty, looking at the different programs we offer. So it's not just about helping you understand where you're studying, but also helping you think about different options you might have as a student.
Well, a packed programme and something for everybody there, I think. And it's great. We've got students at all different levels here. So I'm looking forward to discussing this with colleagues this afternoon. So thank you very much, Chris. And Fary, could we think about the word cloud that we saw a little bit earlier and close the session off with some comments from you?
Sure. Yeah, I'm glad to see that learning is at the center of the word cloud, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help our students and support our students to learn. That's our primary goal. So, and regardless of your circumstances or your background or what's going on in your life, I'd like you to know that you're not alone in this learning journey. We're here to help you succeed. That's our goal, is to help you learn. And so please stay connected. Please reach out anytime you need any kind of support, and enjoy the day. And welcome again to the OU. Really excited to have you here.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. I can't think we can ask for a better welcome. So thank you all very much for joining us today, Fary, Verity and Chris. We're now going to have a video break and hear from Charlotte Bailey, who is actually a WELS student. She's studying education, childhood and youth studies. And she's going to tell us about how she now has a full-time job as an international anti-bullying speaker. So I'll be back after this video.